everyone, and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Hasbro Star Wars Rebels Mission Series 2015, number 7, Wullffwarro and Wookiee Warrior set. Here's a look at the packaging. So the pictures of the Wookiees on this packaging are kind of funny. Like this guy has his eyebrows and his mustache. He looks kind of like Tom Selleck a little bit. I don't mean that in a bad way. And the other guy looks kind of more like the Wolf Man or something. Very interesting. And I do want to let you guys know that my dog has her own YouTube channel that she just started. It is called Dixie the Doxie. I will include a link to that down below. Go ahead and check her out. And check out her first episode of 2 Cents with Dixie the Doxie, which will be an ongoing episode. Now, the Wookiees in the Clone Wars actually looked quite good. I'm not sure why they decided to change the animation on them for Rebels. I mean, yeah, the aesthetic of the show overall is a little bit different. You know, it's strange that they downgraded the look of the Wookiees from one show to the next, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I mean, just looking at these two figures, they actually match the animation quite closely in terms of their sculpt work, which is to say that they're quite awful. And it's just one of those things where, yeah, they look pretty bad, but there's a little bit of appeal in that. There's a little bit of a charm that comes as a result of that. It's kind of weird, and it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and I'm sure it's the kind of thing that only a Star Wars collector would probably understand. But yes, you know, both of the Wookiees do seem to match the show, and in terms of color, I mean, the one's a lot darker than the other, of course. Wullffwarro is more of a cocoa color, whereas the Wookiee Warrior is more of a hazelnut color. There's a little bit of yellow highlighting on both of the Wookiees. There's a little bit more of it on Wullffwarro, and you can see that both Wookiees have armbands. Wullffwarro has his on his right bicep, and the Wookiee Warrior has his on the left. And despite the fact that both of these Wookiees are from the exact same show, they look quite different. Wullffwarro is much more lanky looking. He's got really long arms that are kind of bulky and club out at the ends. He's got short legs and a long torso. And the Wookiee Warrior is a lot more traditional in terms of what we think of when we think of Wookiees. I'm not quite sure why they decided to do them this way, where, you know, one looks just so different with the bulky shoulders and all, and the other one's a lot more slender, but hey, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Speaking of which, I don't know why they gave one of them a name and the other one's just Wookiee Warrior. How does that make any sense? Really not sure. Give you a close-up here of Wullffwarro. You can see that he has his eyebrows there and his mustache. He's got a very stern look about him. He looks like he means business, and you should not mess with him. He looks like he's seen a thing or two in his day. I mean, it's fun. I mean, it definitely looks like a cartoonization of a Wookiee, so I mean, you know, it's fun. It's just probably not going to appeal to a lot of people. Definitely not to a lot of collectors. He looks very gorilla-esque, actually, you know, in the way that they did him. I mean, you can even pull out his arms, and, you know, he can go walking around like that, and he looks like a gorilla. I guess you can set both of them up as if they're aping around. In the way of articulation, Wullffwarro has a swivel at the neck, swivels at the shoulders, and then swivels at the hips. And here's the Wookiee Warrior. Excuse me, they just look so goofy looking. You know, he looks a little bit like the vintage Chewbacca in a way. You know, but hey, I mean, he's definitely meant to be from Rebels, and, you know, he does kind of have like the slightest hint of a smirk on his face. You know, he does look younger than Wullffwarro. And, yeah, you can see the rest of his body where he's a lot more proportionate and not as strikingly crazy. You can see his hands and feet are made with, well, you know, it's supposed to be skin. This is the backside of him. Very simple. In the way of articulation, Wookiee Warrior has a swivel at the neck, swivels at the shoulders, and swivels at the hips. Now, to give you a sense of scale, you can see these guys standing alongside, you know, one of our Chewbacca figures. And Chewbacca's a good bit taller than these other two guys. They're a little bit short for Wookiees. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Hasbro Star Wars Rebels Mission Series 2015, number 7, Wullffwarro and Wookiee Warrior set. Hey guys, stop looking around. Now these figures on their own are quite wacky looking. I'm sure they're not going to appeal to a whole lot of people, definitely not to a whole lot of collectors. At one of my local Targets that I went to yesterday, this was the only Mission Series set that they had out of the new ones that were also released alongside this one. So, if that's any indication, these may not be quite as popular with collectors or even children. Who knows? These actually look a lot like something out of the Star Wars Holiday Special, which isn't necessarily a good thing. I mean, they do match the animation, but the animation of Wookiees in Rebels is a step back from the way they appeared in the Clone Wars. I mean, detail and sculpt is pretty good considering the source material. Paintwork is decent. Articulation is what's to be expected of Mission Series. But all that aside, I mean, there is a strange appeal in these guys. I do like them, and I can't quite figure out why. I think it's just one of those cases where something is just so bad that it's actually pretty good. And I think that's kind of what we're getting here with these. I mean, if I didn't have any Star Wars collectibles or figures or anything at all, I think I would still find the appeal in these guys. They're just so wacky looking, and they're kind of fun, even though they do kind of look like a couple of Sasquatches. Thanks for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time. Bye-bye.